Hey, this is John at Bible Project, and welcome to the premiere of The Chaos Dragon. We're so excited for you to be here and to see it. Stick around afterwards, because when The Chaos Dragon's over, we're going to share with you a sneak peek of a new 10-part series that's going to start releasing next year, starting in January. It's a 10-part series on the Sermon on the Mount, and you're going to get a first look after The Chaos Dragon. Enjoy. In the ancient world, many cultures told stories about a monster of death that lurks in the deep, dark sea. In these tales, the dragon and the sea it lives in represent the chaos that threatens to drag creation back into nothingness.
The ancient authors of the Bible not only knew about these symbols, they also used them in stories and poems all over the Bible.
Really? Dragons in the Bible?
Yes. On the first page of the Bible, God brings order by separating the dry land from the chaotic sea, and there he contains the sea dragon. And this monster is connected to that dragon-like snake that confronts Adam and Eve in the garden, a spiritual being using the power of chaos and death to lure humans into their own self-destruction. Biblical authors also use dragon imagery to describe violent human kings, like Pharaoh, who enslaved and murdered the ancient Israelites. Even the famous Goliath, the details of his armor and weapons depict him as a scaly, snaky giant.
So the sea dragon is loose in all these forms, but it can be defeated.
Yes, but be careful, because the power of the dragon is strangely appealing. A dragon slayer can be enticed to use the dragon's power.
And so become a dragon themselves.
Right. In fact, entire empires can become like dragons. During Israel's exile in Babylon, the prophet Daniel has a dream about 4 monstrous beasts rising up out of the sea.
Whoa, mutant dragons?
They represent violent kingdoms in league with dark spiritual powers. But then, a new character appears, rising up from the land to sit beside God's throne. And as the dream ends, Daniel sees those monsters destroyed.
So who is this dragon slayer?
Well, Daniel calls him one like a son of man.
The Son of Man. That's what Jesus calls himself.
Yes, in fact, the gospel authors depict Jesus confronting the dragon in many ways. Like when he tramples over the stormy sea, or when he resists the tempter in the wilderness, or when he overcomes death and sickness in others. And even when the power of the dragon does its best to entice Jesus,
Jesus doesn't give in.
Jesus resists the dragon in a surprising way. He surrenders his life and willingly enters the belly of the beast.
Wait, the dragon slayer is slain by the dragon?
Well, that's how it seemed. But Jesus trusted in God's power to create new life on the other side of chaos and death. And he called his followers to confront the dragon in the same way.
Which means?
Resist the temptation to use the violent, destructive ways of the dragon. And also, don't be afraid of it. Jesus' victory over the beast has created a way to escape its power. And trust in the power of God, who will one day defeat the dragon once and for all.
Thanks for joining us for the premiere of The Chaos Dragon. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, without further ado, here's a first look at our new series coming up this January on the Sermon on the Mount.
If you've ever heard of Jesus of Nazareth, you probably know he was a famous teacher.
Love your neighbor as yourself. Do to others what you would have them do to you.
Those sayings come from a collection of Jesus' teaching called the Sermon on the Mount.
Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of the skies.
Jesus uses this phrase to talk about a new kind of reality. For Jesus, there is a realm where love is the final word, which might seem far off. But Jesus was claiming that heaven was coming to earth, beginning with these people.
That's unexpected.
And so is what he says next.
So that's it. That's the Sermon on the Mount starting this January. We're so excited. We're going to spend the entire year in the largest block of teachings in the Gospels, the Sermon on the Mount found in Matthew. We're going to do a lot with the Sermon on the Mount, this 10-part series, a lot of other clips that help you read through it slowly. We're going to do it together as a community. So stay tuned to this channel or our social channels or on our website and our app. We're going to be walking through the Sermon on the Mount together. Thanks for being a part of this with us.